"It's just a prank," they said, after shaving my head while I slept. It was my wedding week. I canceled the wedding. Days later, I found out the truth. So, Reddit, I, F28, need to know if I'm the asshole here. I'm still reeling from what happened, and my family's making me feel like I'm overreacting. Last week was supposed to be my wedding week. I was marrying my fiancé, Mark, M30. We'd been together for 3 years. Things weren't always perfect. We had some disagreements, mostly about his ex-girlfriend, Lisa, who he insisted on staying friends with, and his tendency to prioritize his friends over me. I was also financially supporting him, as he was between jobs. He had some promising leads, he said, but nothing concrete. I was okay with it, for a while. We were going to be married after all. The wedding was all planned, deposits paid, dress bought, everything. My bachelorette party was scheduled for Saturday night. My friends, including my maid of honor, Sarah, and, strangely enough, Lisa, who Mark had insisted on including in the wedding party, were supposed to come over to my place. We were going to have a low-key night, some drinks, maybe watch a movie. I woke up Saturday morning to a cold feeling on my head. I reached up and felt nothing, just smooth skin. I ran to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and screamed. My head was completely shaved, clean, not a single hair left. I was in shock. I couldn't process what had happened. Then I saw a note on my pillow. "It's just a prank. Lighten up." It wasn't signed. I started shaking. I ran out of the bedroom calling for Mark. He came out of the living room along with Sarah, Lisa, and 2 of my other friends looking sheepish. They all had drinks in their hands. It was clear they'd been up all night. Mark saw my face, and his smile faded. He said, "You're overreacting. It'll grow back." He said they were all drunk, and it was just a joke. He said I was making a big deal out of nothing. Lisa smirked. Sarah avoided eye contact. My friends just looked uncomfortable. I didn't say anything. I just couldn't. The room was spinning. I felt sick. I went back to the bedroom, grabbed my phone, and called my aunt. She's always been my safe person. I told her what happened. She told me to come over right away. I packed a small bag, grabbed my purse, and walked out. I didn't look at Mark or any of them. I just left. I drove to my aunt's house, still in shock. I couldn't stop crying. She was horrified when she saw me. She hugged me and told me I was safe. I stayed at her house for the rest of the day. I turned off my phone for a few hours. When I finally turned it back on, I had dozens of missed calls and texts. Most were from Mark, my parents, and my sister. I finally answered a call from my mom. She told me I needed to calm down and talk to Mark. She said he was sorry, and it was just a stupid mistake. She said it's just a wedding, and that I shouldn't throw away my relationship over something so trivial. She told me to think about my sister, who was apparently very upset. My dad called next. He said basically the same thing. He said I was being dramatic. I told them I was canceling the wedding. They didn't take it well. So, Reddit, AITA, Update 1. Thanks for all the NTA votes. It helps to know I'm not crazy. I'm still at my aunt's. I haven't spoken to Mark directly since that morning. I've mostly been avoiding calls, but I've seen some of the texts. The fallout from canceling the wedding has been worse than I expected. I lost all the deposits, the venue, the caterer, the florist, everything. It's a lot of money. My credit score is going to take a hit because I had to put a lot of the wedding expenses on credit cards, and now I don't have Mark's income, or lack thereof, to help pay them off. He wasn't contributing much, but it was something. My mental state is not great. I'm mostly just numb. I go through periods of intense anger, and then I just feel empty. I haven't been eating much. I haven't been sleeping well. I keep having nightmares about that morning, about waking up and feeling my bare scalp. I did something today. Mark left his iPad at my aunt's house. He must have brought it over when he was staying there a few weeks ago while I was out of town for work. I found it in a drawer. It wasn't password protected. I know it was wrong, but I looked. I found a group chat. It was Mark, Sarah, Lisa, and my 2 other friends. They were planning the prank. They'd been talking about it for weeks. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment drunken decision. It was premeditated. There were also messages between Mark and Lisa, flirty messages. Mark complaining about me, calling me controlling and obsessed with my looks. He said he was only marrying me because I made good money. I also got to know I am pregnant. I found out just a few weeks before the wedding. I took screenshots of everything. I saved them to a flash drive. I also saved all the receipts and contracts from the wedding. I'm starting to think this isn't just about a prank. It's about something much bigger. My sister called me. She was crying, told me sorry for everything, and she wanted me to know something. She sent me few recordings. I'm not going to be a victim here. I've started to note everything. Update 2. It's been a few days. I've moved out of my aunt's place. I found a small apartment, cheap rent, not the best neighborhood, but it's mine. I used the last of my savings for the deposit and first month's rent. I've been going through the recordings my sister sent me. It's worse than I thought. The recordings were from the bachelor party. It wasn't just Mark, Sarah, and Lisa. My 2 friends were there too. They were all laughing about the prank. They were making fun of me, calling me names. But it wasn't just the prank. I found more. Mark had set up a hidden camera in our bedroom. I don't know how long it had been there. He was recording everything. He had videos of me getting dressed, showering, sleeping, everything, and he was sharing them with the group. My sister sent these to me. She was crying on the phone, apologizing. She said she didn't know how bad it was. She said she thought it was just a stupid joke, but then she saw the videos. She felt sick. She said she couldn't be a part of it anymore. I also got a message on social media from one of Mark's ex-girlfriends. She said she'd heard what happened. She said Mark had done similar things to her, not the shaving, but the controlling behavior, the gaslighting, the manipulation. She said he had a pattern. I'm starting to see it now. A pattern, a plan. I started to put things in motion. I knew Mark was insecure about not having a job. He always talked about wanting to be a big shot, to make a lot of money. He hated that I was the breadwinner. So I sent an anonymous email. I sent it to several companies in his field, companies he'd applied to. I attached screenshots of his texts, the ones where he bragged about living off me, the ones where he called me names. I included a link to a video. It was the video from the hidden camera, but I edited it. I made it look like Mark was the one who orchestrated the whole thing, like he was the mastermind. I made it look like he was laughing about it, enjoying it. I made it look like he hated me. I know it was wrong, but I didn't care. Then, things started to happen. Mark called me, screaming. He said I'd ruined his life. He said I was crazy. He said I was misremembering everything. He said he'd never wanted to marry me, that he was only with me for my money. He admitted it. He also revealed something else. He said he'd been planning to leave me after the wedding. He said he'd been slowly draining our joint account, transferring money to a secret account. He said he was going to take everything. Then my phone rang again. It was Sarah. She was crying. She said Mark had been using her too. She said he'd promised her they'd be together after he left me. She said she was in love with him. She said she was sorry. I didn't say anything. I just hung up. Then the police showed up at my door. Mark had called them. He told them I was harassing him. He told them I was unstable. He told them I was threatening him. I showed them the texts. I showed them the video. I showed them the email from his ex-girlfriend. They listened. They took my statement. They left. Then they came back. They arrested Mark. Harassment. Threats. And I later found out they were investigating him for fraud, for the money he'd been taking from our account. My parents called. They were furious. They said I'd gone too far. They said I'd destroyed Mark's life. They said I should have just forgiven him. They said I was being selfish. They knew all along he had been misusing my money, but they wanted me to adjust and said he would get stable with time. My sister, though, called me again. She told me she'd found something else, something even worse. She said she'd gone through Mark's things after he was arrested. She found a box. Inside, there were photos of me from when I was a teenager, photos I'd never seen before, photos taken without my knowledge. And there was something else, a letter from Mark to my parents. He'd written it years ago before we even started dating. He'd said he was in love with me. He'd said he was going to marry me. He'd said he'd do whatever it took. It was a plan, a long-term plan. And my parents, they knew. They knew all along. I'm pregnant, I'm alone, and I'm terrified. Update 3. It's been a week since I last posted. A week since Mark attacked me. A week since everything changed. I'm out of the hospital. My hand is in a cast. My head still hurts. The doctors say the concussion wasn't too severe, but I have to take it easy. Easier said than done. I haven't been sleeping. When I do, I have nightmares. I see Mark's face smiling, holding the clippers. I hear Sarah and Lisa laughing. I feel the cold metal against my skin. I wake up screaming. I'm staying with Aunt Carol. She's been everything. She got me out of jail, paid the bail. She didn't ask any questions, just said she believed me. I don't know what I'd do without her. The police took my statement. They seemed skeptical at first. It's my word against Mark's, and he's good at lying. He's been telling everyone I'm crazy, that I attacked him. He filed a restraining order. I can't go near him or Sarah or, ironically, my own friends. My parents haven't contacted me directly. My sister said they're disappointed in me. They think I'm ruining Mark's life. They're siding with him. They publicly posted on Facebook how disappointed they were with me and how I should not have reacted the way I did. I got a public defender. She's overworked, doesn't seem to have much time for my case. She told me they offered a plea bargain, a reduced charge, probation, no jail time. If I plead guilty, I told her I wasn't guilty. She sighed. Chloe, Mark's ex, reached out again. She sent me more texts, more emails, proof. Mark has a history. He's done this before, not the shaving, but the manipulation, the gaslighting, the control. He's good at it. He finds vulnerable women, builds them up, then tears them down. I started my own investigation. Aunt Carol helped. We went to the storage unit. It was full of Mark's things, old boxes, college stuff, junk. We started digging. I found a box. It was labeled Memories. Inside, there were photos. Photos of Mark with different women. Photos of him with Sarah from years ago, way before we met. They looked close. There was a letter, too. It was written by Mark to my parents from the time when my sister and Mark were together. He was talking about how much he loved my sister and how he will take care of her. My sister was crying when she told me everything. She was dating Mark before I started dating him. She and Mark were in love, but my parents wanted me and Mark to get married so that the wealth that was going to come in our family remained in the family. I went to see my dad. I didn't tell him I knew. I just asked him, calmly, why he was siding with Mark. He said, family is family. He said I needed to be the bigger person. He said I was being selfish. My dad called later. He said he wanted to talk. He sounded different. He came to Aunt Carol's. He brought a box. He said it was from my grandfather, things that were going to be inherited by all my siblings. Inside, there were some old journals. They belonged to Mark's grandfather and my grandfather. They were best friends and started a business together which has been passed down. I started reading. The business was a success, but Mark's grandfather wanted more. He started skimming money, hiding profits. My grandfather found out. There was a confrontation. My grandfather died. It was ruled an accident, a fall. But in the journal, Mark's grandfather wrote about it. He confessed. He'd pushed him. He'd killed him. And then I found something else. A letter from my parents, sent to Mark's parents years ago. It talked about a plan, a way to merge the families, a way to keep the business in the family. It was all there, in black and white. They'd planned this. They'd pushed Mark and me together. They'd known about his past. They'd known about Sarah. They didn't care. I confronted my mother and Sarah. I went to my parents' house. I didn't call first. I just showed up. My mother was there. Sarah was there too. They were surprised to see me. I didn't say anything at first. I just handed my mother the letter, the one from her to Mark's parents. She read it. Her face went pale. She started to deny it, but I cut her off. I told her I knew everything. About Mark, about Sarah, about the plan, about the money, about the abuse. Sarah started crying. She said she was sorry. She said Mark had manipulated her. She said he'd threatened her. She said she was scared of him. My mother just stared at me. She didn't say anything. I told them I was done. I told them I never wanted to see them again. I walked out. Then I got a call from my lawyer. The charges against Mark, they're not just assault anymore. They're looking at fraud, embezzlement, a whole list of things. The police had been investigating his finances. They'd found the secret account. They'd found the evidence of his past. He's going to jail. A long time. Sarah, too. She's being charged as an accomplice. I should feel relieved. I should feel vindicated, but I don't. I feel empty. I lost everything. My fiancé, my friends, my family, my job, everything. And I lost the baby. I miscarried last night. The stress, the trauma. It was too much. I'm sitting here in Aunt Carol's house, staring at the wall. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. Mark's in jail. Sarah's facing charges. My parents, I don't even know what to call them. I got my revenge. I got the truth. But it doesn't feel like a victory. It feels like nothing. That's all for this story. I'll be back with another one. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It motivates me to create more content like this.